Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 12, text number 44. Maitreya Uvacha Etatte Abhihitam Sarvam Yat Prishtoham Hyaptvaya Dhruvasyodhama Yashashas Charitam Sammatham Satam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, whatever you have asked from me about the great reputation and character of Dhruva Maharaj, I have explained to you in all detail. Great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam means everything in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whether we hear the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord, or we hear about the character, reputation and activities of His devotees, they are all one and the same. Neophyte devotees simply try to understand the pastimes of the Lord and are not very interested in hearing about the activities of His devotees. But such a discrimination should not be indulged in by any real devotee. Sometimes less intelligent men try to hear about the Rasa dance of Krishna and do not take care to hear about other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam, which they completely avoid. There are professional Bhagavata reciters who abruptly go to the Rasa Leela chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, as if other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam were useless. This kind of discrimination and abrupt adoption of Rasa Leela pastimes of the Lord is not approved by the Acharyas. A sincere devotee should read every chapter and every word of Srimad Bhagavatam, for the beginning verses describe that it is a ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. Devotee should not try to avoid even a word of Srimad Bhagavatam. The great sage Maitreya therefore affirmed herein that the Bhagavatam is Sammatham Satam, approved by great devotees. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So, Maitreya is continuing to narrate Dhruva Maharaj going back to Godhead, to Vidura, and Maitreya concludes that I have explained to you in detail what you inquired about Dhruva Maharaj. And he also says great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. So in the purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada is making a very important point for those who are aspiring to be the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada says that there is a tendency for devotees, and he says they are not real devotees. Tendency for some devotees to think that hearing the pastimes of Krishna's intimacy with the gopis, the pastime of Rasa dance, is more advanced, more important, and also think, not only that, some think they should not divert their attention to hear Krishna's Leela speaking in Kurukshetra war, or so many Leelas of Krishna's Dashavatara, and also that even less than the pastimes of the Lord is to hear about the pure devotees of the Lord. So somehow this kind of consciousness, of course, in the material world is very much this measuring tendency, something more important than the other, is a disease in this world. Whereas in the understanding of Krishna, we have to, as Prabhupada is saying, every word of Srimad Bhagavatam, devotee should not try to avoid even a word of Srimad Bhagavatam. Great sage Maitreya therefore affirmed herein that Bhagavatam is samatam satam, approved by all great devotees. So Srimad Bhagavatam narrates the different pastimes of the Lord and His devotees. And the Lord and the devotees are related with each other in different rasas. Shanta Rasa, Dasya Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. And even Shanta Rasa, which is appreciation of the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of His majesty, His power, His creation, His feature of controlling as a Supreme Param Ishvara. All these things Bhagavatam begins with many of these things. God as the Sarvakarana Karana. Even though when you go into the pastimes of Krishna and the gopis, they do not disturb their intense service to Krishna by thinking that He is a cause of all causes or He is a Param Ishvara. Whether gopis or Yashoda. Now this cannot be imitated by a sadhaka. We have to understand Krishna's glories in terms of His unlimited Shaktis, in terms of His creation, maintenance, annihilation. You have to understand and appreciate. Because that imitation of only thinking about or Gopi Baba or only thinking about that, is a very, very far stage where one is fully liberated and is not even preaching in this world and is just mud in the Nitya Leela of the Lord. So where is that and where is this? So for all practical purposes we have to understand that Krishna consciousness means to understand the entire spectrum of Krishna's rasas, bhakti rasa. And that is the secret of success for a sadhaka. Because first of all, he is not God conscious. He is trying to be God conscious. So the idea of God has to register in him, Krishna as the God. Maybe devotees in Vrindavan don't think of Krishna as God. But that is something very special feature of the spiritual world, not those who are situated in this material world. Here we have to appreciate Krishna in the Krishna consciousness, the consciousness of Krishna being the Supreme Father of all living entities. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindho, Deena Bandho, Jagat Pate. See, the understanding that he is the Supreme Father of all living entities. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindho, Deena Bandho, ocean of Karuna, Deena Bandho, the friend of the fallen, Jagat Pate. Then Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostate. See, in the same breath, the entire spectrum is being appreciated. Not that, oh, this rasa is mixing with that rasa. Those are very advanced topics. So for us, we have to understand God in all his features, and each of these features we have to feel Krishna's majesty, Aishwarya, and also simultaneously feel his madhurya, his sweetness. Krishna is all powerful. He is the supreme controller of everything. He is the supreme maintainer of everyone. Understanding the mind of Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita, the setting is completely material, dynamics of material life, politics, everything. And there also Krishna's intelligence has to be worshipped. The intelligence that he gave to Arjuna had to be studied, meditated upon. So Krishna is an unlimited personality. The Supreme Lord is an unlimited personality. That is how we have to understand now. So one should not jump to 10th canto of Rasa dance. Unless one has already linked up with Krishna as God, as God. Lord is seated in our heart as Paramatma, as the Lord of three modes of material nature, as the Lord of Kala. That is also His Leela. Material energy, material activities is also His Leela. But in this Leela can be appreciated in terms of His Aishwarya, in terms of His majesty. Just like if you see a very powerful person, you feel that Rasa is a powerful person. Same thing, we should also feel Krishna's infinite power, all-powerful personality. Along with the other end of the spectrum, Radha Kanta, He Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandho, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namustate. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, then from beginning to end, we come to understand Krishna's different personalities. Krishna is like the Vaidhurya gem. Vaidhurya gemstone. From different directions, if you see, you will see different colors, multicolors. But the gemstone is one stone. So, there are two things with respect to Krishna conscious philosophy you have to understand. Tattva and Rasa. So we are in the stage where we are trying to comprehend the Ishvara Tattva. Not only Ishvara Tattva, Krishna Tattva. There is Tattva aspect. When Prabhupada is explaining about Krishna and his relationship with the gopis, there also you will see how Prabhupada is explaining the Tattva. There also Tattva is there. So we have a right to talk, to go into all these things, Krishna's Rasa, all these things, in terms of the Tattva at this time. Just like Krishna says, Prabhupada says, Krishna enjoys Radharani. But his enjoyment is not like a lusty man. A lusty man enjoys a woman because he doesn't possess the woman. That woman is separate from him. See the Tattva, how Prabhupada is explaining. He explains that Krishna himself becomes Radharani. Krishna does not depend on anything outside himself for his enjoyment. Therefore he expands himself as Radharani and enjoys with her. So these kind of tattvas are there. This we have to read. This we have to understand. The full spectrum of tattvas we have to understand. We should not hesitate to understand the tattvas. When you are lost in the rasa, when somebody is completely absorbed, that is a different matter. Gopis don't want to know the tattva, that Krishna is God, because it disturbs the rasa. So first a devotee has to understand the multi-dimensional personality of Krishna. We are limited living beings. ultimately we can relate with some aspect of Krishna is rasa, complete absorption. We can. We have to, because we are limited. We cannot embrace everything when we go into the spiritual world. We fix ourselves in some rasa, in service of the Supreme Lord. So what is that stage? That is the stage when you go back to God. That is the stage when you enter into Nitya Leela. But now we have to understand every aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam, and that will enrich our spiritual attachment to Krishna. So anybody who jumps ahead to understand finer rasa, not understand, to relish finer rasa, without having deeply gone into understanding the Tattva, then he is doing a mistake. He will get only Chaya rasa, shadow rasa, not real rasa. Real Krishna he will not get. So understanding the Tattva purifies our heart of all contaminations. So Prabhupada is cautioning us. Several other places also Prabhupada cautions this tendency to read only Krishna's pastimes without the inquisitiveness to know the Tattva. Just like we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The same mantra has got so many various meanings in terms of Tattva. Oh, please engage me in service of the Lord, service of Hari. So we have to come out of Maya first. We have to come out of the three modes of material nature. Hare refers to the internal energy of the Lord. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See how Prabhupada goes on, everywhere he is impressing everyone. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas that very thought is not there in the gopis' minds. So we have to first understand this. Then we understand that how we are controlled, we are tiny. Krishna's supreme eternal energy, internal energy, external energy. What is freedom? What is bodily concept of life? Why we are trapped in this bodily concept of life? What is the role of all these fake rasas in this material world? Intimacy, love, pleasure, power. All this we have to understand first. Come out of this misidentification with this material body. Come out of 100%, come out of sense gratification. These are all the aspirations for sadhaka. Come out of sense gratification with realization. So the entire Krishna Katha in Srimad Bhagavatam is designed for all these stage-wise development of our Krishna consciousness. From simple God consciousness up to Goloka Krishna consciousness. Step by step, we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj's Lila, as it is said here, that saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj's determination, Dhruva Maharaj's adherence to Narada Rishi's instructions, and how he pleased the Supreme Lord, and how he realized that I was asking the Supreme Lord for pieces of glass. Now I see his beauty, his association is like diamonds, which I could never appreciate. So by hearing all these Leelas, let's say about Dhruva Maharaj, when immediately that determination of Dhruva Maharaj is transferred into our heart. It is not by intellectualizing alone you understand all this Bhagavatam. When you hear the Leelas of the Lord, when you hear Dhruva Maharaj's determination energy transferred from him, Srimad Bhagavatam into the Leela, from the Leela into our heart. Submissive hearing. So, to develop all Vaishnava qualities, one should hear these kathas. How to develop this? Hear the katha. Then it will be transferred. The most powerful way, probably only way, where devotion is developed by hearing about those devotees with that devotion. Just like we were all inspired to dedicate our lives to Krishna's service. Each one of us, Prabhupada's life impacted us, and that hearing about him planted in us a spirit of sacrifice to serve Srila Prabhupada, to serve Krishna. Is it not? So these secrets, one who wants to really make advancement in Krishna consciousness, that is why Prabhupada says, you should read my books. I have written my books, I written the books for you to read. Not only distribute, you should read these books. It's a continuous source of Bhakti Rasa. Every Bhaktivedanta purport is an ecstasy of Srila Prabhupada in his relationship with Krishna. In that spirit one should see. Because it is packed with Bhakti Rasa. Surrender, devotion, obedience, determination, knowledge. Packed with it. So it's a great treasure that is left for us in this world. One does not utilize these things. Simply keep speculating. Our way of gaining Krishna conscious knowledge, our gain of is by hearing. Repeated hearing. Hearing after that, yes, you can do mananam. You can think about it. You can intellectualize. The seed is always from hearing. Then we apply our intelligence. But without content, you intellectualize. you reach nowhere. They're mental speculation. It's a very nice instruction from Prabhupada. You should always remember that I am interested in all aspects of Krishna. I am interested in him, in his Leela as Paramatma. I am interested in his Leela as Narayana. I am interested in his Leela as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, as Shirodaksha Vishnu, as Mahavishnu, as various avatars. Narasimha, Kurma, Varaha, all avatars. I want to know about it. Any questions? At the sadhaka stage, one should have one should try to feel the Krishna as his personality as Kurukshetra Krishna. Very important to start with that. Unless you are impressed with Krishna's intelligence in Bhagavad Gita, because he came down to this material world 5,000 years back. As far as common people are concerned, he left Bhagavad Gita. He performed intimate leelas that he left there he revealed all those things for those who cross those stages and understand who he is. And most of the time when we are preaching to outsiders, it is almost everything is about Bhagavad Gita. In our practical life also, it is about application of Bhagavad Gita. Because we are not free from ahankara. We have to learn how to surrender. We have to learn how to work for Krishna. We have to learn how to work as a servant of Krishna. We have to learn how to always be conscious that Krishna is the supreme controller of everything in this material world. He is the Lord of all order and chaos in this material world. So we have to learn how to see this world through the eyes of the knowledge revealed in Bhagavad Gita. Because we are in this world. And that you see in Srila Prabhupada. He does not differentiate between Rasa dance and when he talking about surrendering to God. Even when he doesn't use the word Krishna, he says to God, he's having conversation with somebody, non-devotee. His emphasis is same. So this Krishna is like a Vaidhurya. We explained multiple personality. Krishna is a person with infinite personalities. He is an infinite person with infinite personalities. A person in relationship with different situation develops different personalities. Krishna is a person with respect to his relationship with his gopis. There is a personality. Krishna as a supreme person in his relationship with Arjuna, he has a personality, unique personality. That is Kurukshetra Krishna. Krishna as a person. They are not separate. Person is common. The person, here is one personality, Dwarka personality. Here is Goloka Krishna personality. Kurukshetra personality. Shirodaksha Vishnu personality. Garbhodaksha Vishnu personality. We have to see oneness of this one person. And that is all it is. Not that we are reading, about Narayana, we are reading Narayana is somewhere else. Or different avatars are different. We are all talking about one person's multifarious glories. This is the understanding of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that, systematically we should develop the conception of Krishna. Not disconnect one from the other. Questions?
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Yeah.
You told that Bhaktivedanta purports are the devotional ecstasy of Srila Prabhupada, where he presented his love for Krishna, his knowledge about Krishna, his determination. So, and you told about that we have to understand the Tattva first, and the entire spectrum of the personality of Krishna. Then, because Rasa and Tattva both are contradicting. When there is a Rasa, then just like gopis don't want to understand Krishna as the Supreme Lord, because their Rasa will get disturbed. So, just I wanted to know if my understanding is right. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explained everything about Krishna consciousness, even in one book, Bhagavad Gita. So in the beginning verses, Prabhupada, somewhere in the purport, he writes all the incarnations of Krishna, either Narsimha, Vara, they all are one. And he quoted Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. And a devotee should have firm faith. There is no difference in these personalities. There is a one person. And the same book, later part, one place Prabhupada mentioned that a devotee should worship only Sham Sundara form of Krishna, and he should have love for him. No even Ram, no even Vishnu and all. So even an outsider, when he reads these purports, they misunderstand like you people only talk about Krishna as the Supreme. Ultimately you come to this conclusion, even Vishnu is not Supreme, Krishna is Supreme. But as a sadhaka, like we are as a practitioner, so we understand that here Prabhupada's loving ecstasy is there in this purport. Prabhupada is having love for Krishna. So is it right, my understanding of Prabhupada having loving ecstasy, that's why he wrote there that a devotee should have only love?
First he is writing this for those who are his disciples, those who are in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So, even though, let us say, because our ultimate goal is Radha and Krishna, the installation is Radha Krishna. But Radha Krishna, they relate with us at this stage of our life as in the rasa of Vaikuntha, reverence. So we worship the Vidhi, the Pancharatrika Vidhi. They take you up to Vaikuntha. So that aspect, as far as we practitioners are concerned, since our ultimate goal is to hand at Krishna, Krishna is advising, don't divert your attention to other forms. Even if you think of Narayana, think as Aishwarya aspect of the Lord, when you think of 200 Krishna. He showed Vishwarupa. So we in terms of form, Krishna himself has got all other forms within himself. So in that spirit, we worship Lakshmi Narayana. That Krishna is expanding as Narayana, Radharani is expanding as Lakshmi. That is how it is, the deity worship. So in the same way, there also in that purport where Prabhupada says, focus on Krishna. That is why you need, if somebody has to understand, forget about all comments that people make. They'll make so many mistakes. They'll take one from this verse, one from there, what Prabhupada says. That is not they have to understand everything from the association of devotees. So if you take one sentence somewhere from Prabhupada, then you will be misled. So even though entire spectrum we are interested, we go on connecting it to Krishna. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arsabha Bhritya. Narayana, Balarama, anything we talk, we connect it to Krishna. That is a Tattva, Krishna Tattva. We talk about super soul, we connect it to Krishna. Krishna in my heart. Because Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. He himself is become the super soul in each living entity. And these expansions you cannot understand by material time and space. How Advaitam it is. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. How they are Advaita. You cannot comprehend it with our material intelligence. Super soul is in Narayana form. Simultaneously in Krishna's form also is there, because there is no difference. If you have that bhava, then immediately Krishna himself is there as a super soul. Krishna is super soul is Krishna. For Anand, for different rasa is there. Pure devotees, they are completely in Krishna bhavana. Then Krishna is in their heart. They don't cease. Even super soul function also. Because whatever they do is for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So under His guidance, everything is happening for a pure devotee. So these are all very fine principles of how a devotee relates with Krishna at different stages of his spiritual advancement. Any other question? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.